Hey everyone, this is going to be a quick video showing you my sword collection. So in this video I'm going to be telling you all the models, the names, and the modifications that I have made to the swords. So let's get started. This one here is a Hanwei Nambokucho Raptor Katana. I've changed the Sageo on this one, which is this piece right here. This here is red and black silk. I've changed the Iaito, which is the handle wrapping, to red leather. And I have refinished the fittings, as you can see. I think that gives it a much nicer look than how it looks standard, especially since the finish on these wears off with use. So with this look right here, it makes it look nicer than with the finish half worn off. Next one is my Hanwei Shobu Zukuri Raptor Katana. I've changed the Sageo on this one as well, as you can see, to a bright red Sageo that a friend made me. I've also changed the Iaito on this one here to black silk, and I lacquered the Sageo, which is the race skin. As you can see, in the diamonds, it's black, not white anymore. I did the same treatment to this one too on the fittings, as you can see. And I also changed the seppa, which are the little spacers right here, to black. So the spacers are here and on the other side. They typically come brass colored, but I changed them on this one here to black because I like the look better. Both of the Raptors had to be sharpened a little bit because they're not quite as sharp as they could be. And after sharpening them, they cut great. Next one here is my Shinwa Odachi, which I have used in a lot of videos, just as I have with the Raptors. This one here, though, is one of the swords I have done the most work on to give it more of a personalized look and to give the sword a higher quality fit and finish. First thing you'll notice is that the saya is wood grain. It is two-tone, so as you can see, it's wood grain here, but it's black here. I also wire wrapped this because I did split the saya, so I used wood glue to fix the split and wood filler where needed, and then I used the wire to repair it. I replaced the Sageo to gold. These here a lot of times are horn, but on less expensive swords like this, they're wood. So I refinished that as well so it matches the saya. I also shortened the ska, which is the handle, from 22 inches down to just under 16.5 inches. I did that because when using this sword with that long of a ska, when I was using the left hand for the power hand, which in my style, that's how it is, left hand is power hand, I could actually feel the ska flexing, which is not a good thing. Plus, a 22-inch ska on a sword this size, in my opinion, is overkill, so I shortened it down to just under 16.5 inches. This makes it a lot stronger and, in my opinion, much less cumbersome than with the 22-inch ska. 22-inch skas do have their place, but not on a sword that has a 3-foot blade. I also rewrapped the ska because this here comes with the Iaito, which is the handle wrapping, very loose, which I don't like that at all. So I rewrapped it. And when I rewrapped it, I also put the Manucci, which are the ornaments, in a way to where they are more visible. I also had to fix most of the fittings on the sword because they were, most of them, upside down and backwards, such as the Manucci were upside down and backwards, the Tsuba was backwards, the Kashira was upside down. So that was quite a bit of work that was needed, but the end product, I think, is very nice. Another thing I had to fix on the Shinwa Odachi is the amount of space between the kurigata and the koiguchi. On this sword, when you first get it, the kurigata is about 6 inches away from the opening of the saya, which is way too far for martial arts purposes. You really don't want this here to be any further than about one hand's width. So if your hand fits perfectly right there and there, to where it's fitting in there without it opening yet, unless you squeeze it, that's fine. But any further than that, it's too much. I set this one up to be so that, as you can see, my hand does cover it a bit when I'm opening it. But that's also to make this easier to draw, since it is such a long blade. Next up is my Rian Sword Yamato replica. Now I got this sword sent to me by Rian Sword for review, and I have to say there was not much I had to fix on this at all. The length on this sword was a custom length that I specified to make it more closer to the game. It has a 33.5-inch blade and a 14.5-inch ska. This sword also has a bohei, which is the fuller, often called a blood groove, which is incorrect. It is not a blood groove. Normally, I don't like bohei, but I had it done on this sword so that it is more accurate to the game. The Manucci, which are the ornaments, they changed. I asked for them to put something that fits with the fittings better. The ones that it comes with, they're just a very bright gold color, very shiny, and I didn't want that. I wanted something that fits more with the fittings. So, I had them put these ones on here. Kashira is the right way as well, as you can see. So, the Kashira, which is the end cap, should be to where it's right side up when the sword is like this, edge up, because as you're wearing it, that's when it should be right side up, not when it's drawn. Because when it's drawn, it's not going to be seen anyway, so it doesn't matter. I also had them change the color of the Sageo to a more gold colored one, because this normally comes with a white one. I had them move the Kurigata up higher so that it is proper for EI. And the only real thing I had to fix was the opening right here. The metal opening was too small. I kept hitting it with the blade because it was so close to the opening, so I just took a file to it and now it's fixed. Next is my custom Rian Sword Iaito. I ordered this sword a long time ago, and I have done some personalizing to this one as well. I had them make this sword with a 14-inch ska and a 31-inch blade, and as you can see, it is very curved, which is what I asked for. I like deeply curved blades. And this one here has a longer length kisaki, which is the point. This is 3 inches, which I do prefer a longer kisaki. After a few years of use, I ended up refinishing the saya to this. It's still a scarlet red, just as it was when I got it, but it's a wood grain. And this one here, just as many of my other swords, is two-tone. So from here to here is black, as you can see, and I like that angled transition. The Sageo is a brown and gold silk Sageo. I ended up changing the Ito on this one from black cotton to brown silk. And as you can see, this is a more unique style of skamaki. I like more unique styles of skamaki, which is the handle wrapping. Another thing I changed on this one is the seppa, which is the little spacers. This was originally black, which is what I asked for. But then after a while I decided, I wanted it to be a little bit more showy, so I put gold right there, and those there are from Japan. Next up is my Hanwei Tori Iaito. I changed the Sageo on this one here to a burgundy colored Sageo that is cotton. These come with dark brown Sageos, which looked nice, but I like the way this looks. Gives more of an accent to it. And also, the Sageo that this one came with was shedding. So I didn't like that, so I changed it. I also did the same finish that I did to my Raptors to this one, as you can see, to where it's more of the bare metal, but it still has some of the black on it. And I also replaced the Ito on this because I wore out the leather that was on it. Next up is my Masahiro Shadow Warrior. This is another one that I have done a lot of repair to. As you can see, I refinished this saya as well. This one comes the typical glossy black. This one here is wood grain, which I like the wood grain more than the glossy black, of course. I changed the Sageo to a higher quality Sageo. This one here is a checker pattern cotton Sageo from Japan. I changed the Ito to red leather. I changed the Manucci because they were plastic. I changed the Tsuba on here. And I changed the Habaki and Seppa. The reason why I replaced so many of the fittings on this sword is because if you look on this side, there's a fire deity. If you look on this side, there's a flaming spear. The Tsuba, though, was some type of like a tribal looking thing almost. So that didn't quite fit with the theme of the sword. The Manucci were dragons, but they were cheap plastic ones that were barely able to tell what they were. So I replaced all of that. I also gave the same treatment to the Kashira and the Fuchi as I did the Hanweis. And I also took some of the finish off of the rim of the Tsuba. The Ito on this sword, when you first get it, is really bad. It's a really cheap kind of leather and it's really irritating to the hands. As you can see, I also shortened the distance between the Koiguchi and the Kurigata on this one, as you can see. So, once again, better for martial arts purposes. These ones here are two swords that I am currently working on. These both are the Edo Katanas that I got from Swords of Might, but I do not recommend Swords of Might for sword purchases. So if you want swords like these, look online. There's other places that have them. As I said, I just don't recommend Swords of Might to purchase anything. This one here, I have refinished the saya on, although I haven't reinstalled the Kurigata yet. One thing that attracted me to these swords is both of these swords have these little knives. These are called kozuka. The kozuka is actually the handle and the kogatana is the blade. And there's a little hole in the Tsuba right here that it passes through and goes right onto the saya. I've also changed the Sageo on this one right here. This one here was actually from the Masahiro Shadow Warrior, but it was so close to matching the saya that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put that on there. It looks cool. This one here is another project in the works, but this one here is much closer to being done. I refinished the saya on this one, as you can see. It is a wood grain, and it has a very interesting grain to it, so I really like the way that looks. The Sageo is a black and red houndstooth pattern Sageo from Japan. The Tsuba is a diamond-shaped iron Tsuba that I bought online, and I carved the ska myself. I used black seppa on this one right here. And this sword is very close to being done. I'm still planning on wrapping the ska on this one, and then it'll pretty much be done. Although I do kind of like the look of the bare wood too. It's kind of hard for me to decide. So write down in the comments section what you think I should do. Bare wood or wrapping it up so it looks more like a katana, and then I will drill through on the ska right here to pass the Ito through. Next up is this sword right here. I refinished the saya on this one. As you can see, once again, wood grain, two-tone. The Sageo I braided out of red and black 550 paracord. You'll notice that the guard is actually a Bowie knife guard, which I did that to make it a little bit different. The ska is a very unconventional shape, which I came up with myself. So as you can see, that's raised like that so that my hand can't slide off of it. Just wanted to make something a little different with this one. And with the seppa, which is the spacers, I put black ones on here. So this is the last of the katanas that I am going to be showing. This one here is the Comi Katana that I got from Sword and Armory. The finish is factory, which I really like. I changed the Sageo on this one. It comes with a black Sageo. I changed it to brown. Although I'm thinking I might change this to gold. The Samegawa, which is the race skin, has been lacquered black. And of course I have to rewrap this ska, but when it's done I think it's going to look really good. I also replaced the seppa with the black seppa. Next is my Kas Hanwei Practical Rapier. I carved this scabbard for it myself, and I made this leather sleeve right here so that's more comfortable to hold like this, because that's the way that you hold a rapier actually. In case you don't know, these are finger rings, and your finger goes right there, basically right on the blade. But even on a sharp one, which this one is not, this part here is left intentionally blunt so that you can hold it this way, maybe this way, personal preference. Some manuals did depict holding the rapier more like this from what I have heard, but it wasn't as common as this grip. The last one I'm going to show is my Cold Steel Lafontaine Sword of War. The only thing I have really done to this one is sharpened it. That's all I've done to this one so far. So that's pretty much it for my sword collection. I do have some other ones I didn't show, but those ones are more projects in the works, or even some ones that I'm trying to think of things to do to them to make them more unique. Of course, there's the Shirasaya that I showed in another video, but that one there is more of a cheaper sword that I got a long time ago when I didn't really know as much about swords as I do now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!